Hey, good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Today we are discussing the costs. So today we are discussing 10 parenting mistakes that look normal but quietly damage your child later. The mistakes. Oh, so sorry about this. Let me quickly. Sorry, I had a very small mistake. Let me quickly fix it. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. So today we are going to be seeing the actions, the attitudes that parents need to drop to assume their roles as steward parents. 10 habits that parents need to stop to assume their roles as steward parents. Hello. Hi. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here. The roles. So we are looking at the roles to assume instead of being a reactive parent, and start assuming your stewardship role, your steward parenting roles. Okay, so I'm trying to open my notes. So just a minute, please. Okay, just a minute. I'm so sorry for the delay. Just a minute. Jesus name. Yeah. So today we're supposed to be talking about, so sorry, today is such a wonderful day. So we're actually supposed to talk about 10 habits to drop if you are going to become a steward parent. So, but I don't know what's happening here. I've not been able to open my notes for the class, which is very, very strange. This has never happened before. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Yeah, and that is finally here. After such, ah, what a class. So sorry, everyone. I think we are good to go. Finally. Yeah, we are here and we are very, very good to go. So good to be here. 10 past parenting habits to drop. Yes. Okay. I know who is here. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you for being here. So, 10 past parenting mistakes that we still operate with, but requires that parenting requires that we drop to be effective stewards. 10 past habits or mistakes that parents still operate in that requires that we drop, but parents still operate with. Yes, 10 past parenting mindset you must leave behind to embrace your stewardship role. 10 past parenting mindset you must leave behind to embrace your stewardship role. So this is a class that's going to, hope you can see and hear me. So let's talk about this. What if I told you that some of the biggest struggles you have with your child today are not actually about your child? What if the real struggle is that you are parenting today's child with yesterday's memories, with yesterday's experiences, with yesterday's hurts? Many parents are trying to steward children through lenses formed decades ago, lenses of pain, lenses of hurt, lenses shaped by how they were raised, lenses shaped by what they were denied. That is what parents are using to raise their children, and that is why it feels so frustrating. Lenses shaped by what hurts them, lenses shaped by what frightens them, lenses shaped by what they promise themselves they would never repeat, but it's just automatically. These are patterns that they have experienced, so they automatically repeat them. And without realizing it, those memories quietly become parenting strategies. You use those strategies now to parent your children. You use those strategies that hurt you. You use those strategies that cost you pain to also parent your children, because that is the only tool you have. Okay, so today we are going to be looking at. So I turned out fine. My parents were strict, and look at And look at me today. Okay, we never question. You don't question your parents. When I was growing up, you use those kind of terms, but stewardship parenting asks a different question. It asks, it's what you experience the best model for the child in front of you today. So many of us, we just, okay, we turned out okay now. My parents hit me, my parents did all of those stuff to me, but yet I am fine today. I am a this, I am a that. But that is not what a stewardship parent asks for the child in front of them. Okay, they ask a different question that is suitable for their children. Is what you experience the best model for your child? Because many of us are carrying parenting memories that no longer serve the children we are raising, that no longer serve the children we are raising. But today we are going to talk about 10 past parenting mindsets you must leave behind. You must to embrace your stewardship. You don't own any child, okay? It's a stewardship role that you are standing in. So, and this conversation may be one of the most important conversations we have all year. So just stay with me, okay? So hello, amazing parents. You're welcome. I'm really sorry about today's hitches. I am so sorry about what happened. So sorry about the long delay. So, but you're welcome to today's live stream. My name is Ruth Ikhabomeh. I am the founder of the Equitable Parent Hub. And today is not about blaming our parents. We are not here to be blaming parents. It's about becoming aware, okay? Because awareness creates choice and choice creates transformation. So let's go into steward, because steward parents understand something powerful. We cannot change what happened to us, but we can choose what continues through us. Okay, so now there was a time even me, I believed that being a good parent meant simply doing better than what I experienced. Okay, you're trying your best. If you shouted less, if you loved more, if you provided more, then surely you notice that you become a better parent. But eventually you realize something. Many of us, we react. Many of our reactions weren't coming from wisdom. Our reactions as parents don't come, even as anybody in society, as a human being, your reaction don't come from wisdom. It comes from patterns, okay, unexamined patterns. So when children, and these are memories. So you tell yourself, I wasn't always responding to my child. Sometimes I was responding to my past, and that's when I realized healing the parent matters, because an unhealed parent often parents from old wounds instead of present realities. So we have to parent from present realities, okay? Because wounds, because parents, the old wounds instead of present realities eventually hurt and harm our children. So, but my breakthrough came when I realized parenting is not ownership, parenting is stewardship. And stewardship requires seeing the child clearly. Stewardship requires a mindset shift. Stewardship requires that you know the truth that that child in front of you is not yours. Okay, you are raising the king's child, not through fear, not through old pain, not through inherited beliefs, okay, but through intentional understanding. That realization will change everything once you realize that. Now, the 10 past parenting mistakes that stewards must leave behind, that you must leave behind, to leave behind. The first mistake is children should be seen and not heard. You go to places and then you just say children should just be quiet, and these are children, they are still learning how to handle their emotions, and then you put them in a space and you say they should just sit down. But many of us grew up with this message, okay? The result is children learn silence, not wisdom. Okay, children are here to learn. Your children are in your space to learn. Steward parents understand that children need a voice. They need to express themselves. Everybody have a voice, including your children. So children needs to be seen and heard, not just seen and not heard. Because a steward parent knows and understands that, okay, that children need a voice, not control. So you hear people say, oh, how do we control this children? How do we, not authority, a voice. not authority a voice, because children who are heard becomes adults who communicate, adults who can communicate. Okay, so that is the first mistake that their parents carry into their parenting that is not right. You tell yourself that these children just have to be quiet. You raise your children and feel they are dolls. They are not dolls, they are human beings, they have emotions. Okay, so you don't tell your children that they should be seen and not heard. They need a voice. Your children need a voice, because children who are heard become adults who can communicate, become adults who communicate. So many of us, so many quietness around us today in the society. The reason why, because we were raised as people who are seen and not heard. That is why we are going through what we are going through in the society today. A lot is happening and nobody is saying anything. Nobody is saying a word. Why? Because we were raised to be seen and not heard. So everybody is just moving about their business, even though it is very tough. We are just going around and just acting like nothing is happening, but a lot is happening and nobody is speaking. Nobody is able to communicate. So that is why we as parents now should still raise our children, give them a voice, let them be able to speak up. Let them stop telling your children, and you don't talk back at your, even when it is not right, you tell your children to always keep short. That is a mistake. That is a path that you have to drop. Okay, you have to drop that mindset. It's a mindset shift you have to embrace today. The second mindset shift that you have to drop is fear equals respect. Most of the times, because we were raised with parents who are very domineering. They just want, they feel when you are quiet, when you are quiet, when you are fidgeting, when you are fearful, it means that you are respectful. But that is not true. Fear does not equal respect. It can get you conformity in the moment, but you eventually lost in the future. Many parents confuse fear with respect, but fear creates distance. Respect creates trust. So that's what you should be seeking to build in your parenting. Seek how you can get your child's respect, how you can get your child honor, instead of thinking that because they fear you means that you are being respected. A child who fears you may obey. Okay. Thank you so much, ma. Unhealed parents raise unstable children. Bam. Exactly. Parents who are going through that's why the society is the way it is. Okay, we were raised by parents who went through a lot of trauma. So that's why a lot of quietness is going on. A lot is happening in the society, but nobody wants to speak up. Why? Because this is how we were raised. But when we do the healing work, when we heal ourselves, we would allow our children have a voice. Would allow our children build their voice from the home, because charity begins from the home. And you stop telling yourself that fear equals respect. Fear does not equal respect. A child who fears you now, okay, may obey. A child who trusts you will open up. You see the difference? A child who fears you will obey, but the child who knows that you are worthy of being trusted, they will open up to you. Steward parents build influence through connection, because that is what parenting is about. Parenting is about influence. How are you being able to influence the children in front of you? How are you being able to do that? Okay, steward parents knows that parenting is influence. Parenting is influence. So not just control, not just managing the children in front of you. You know that parenting is stewardship, is leadership. So you stop using fear you stop believing that fear equals respect. Fear does not equal respect. Okay, like you are screaming, you are yelling, you are hitting, you are flogging everybody, and you feel okay, now you are now in control. But how long will that control be? For how long? Okay, so I see what parents knows that their role as parents is to influence, and you don't get that through fear. You cannot influence somebody that is fearful. You can only influence somebody who you have connected with. You can only influence somebody through connection. That is what steward parenting is about. Connection. you be able to connect with your children. That is what stewardship parenting is about. The third past mistake that parents walk around with and think they can parent their children with that is because I said so. You tell yourself, your children, because you don't want to explain to them, you just feel that because you are the boss in the house, forgetting that it's just a temporary time, it's just a short period of time. You tell them, because I said so, do it because I said. Many of us grew up under questioned unquestioned authority, but stewardship parents understand that explanation develops understanding. Explanation develops understanding. When you explain to your children, they understand, and understanding develops ownership. From understanding, they are able to own that process. They're able to own that process because ownership develops maturity. When you own all the processes you go through, you own your growing up stage, you'll be able to become mature and go through life in a matured way instead of going through life in a reactive way. So this is why we need to embrace this mindset and drop all this kind of mindset. Because I said so, your children should just do it, and they don't understand. Say, because you are the parent, because I am the parent here. Let them be able to understand the reason why things exist in your home. Okay? Because yes, it's true, unhealed parents we raise unstable children. Unhealed parents we raise unstable children. My child should be like me. It's another mistake, it's another mindset that parent needs to drop to embrace their stewardship role, because your child cannot be like you. Your child is who they are and you are who you are. Okay? Your child is not like you. Some parents unknowingly try to recreate themselves, but stewardship parenting recognizes that your child is not cloned. Your child is not a doll. It's not a doll. You just expect them to just sit in a space. You give them tablets, you give them gadgets, and expect them. Your child is not a clone. It's not your clone. Your child is their own person, different strengths, different personality. So once you are able to understand that, you'll be able to. Once you are able to understand that, you'll be able to raise yourself. You'll be able to grow through this process, because you cannot keep those mindsets. You have to grow through them and begin to see parenting as stewardship, because your child is their own person. They have different personality, different calling. So stop forcing your child up. Your job is not replication. Okay, it is development. Your job is not replication. You're not trying to bring to multiply yourself into all your children, into your child. That is not your role. Your role is to be able to develop this child into. So love means giving everything. That you have everything to give your child. That's not effective parenting. Okay, many parents compensate with material things because you feel guilty. You have you feel you have done what you are not supposed to do. So you now say, oh, let me give them everything. Let me give them even what. But children need presence. They need your guidance. They need your stability. They need your boundaries. They need emotional connection. Okay, more than possessions, more than your presence. Your children need your emotional stability. They need the emotional connection. Your ability to be able to connect with them. That's what your child needs. Not just giving them and giving them. Your child needs much more of that. Okay, so your child needs much more than possession. Your children need much more than possession. Most of the times you just provide stuff around the house, and then you feel your children are okay, and then you're not giving yourself, you're not showing up with your own self. You're not showing up as a parent. That is where there's going to be a problem. Your children needs you more than the possessions you are providing. Okay, so another mindset that we need to shift from is good children never fail. Good children never fail. Everybody fail, and failure is not the enemy. Okay, avoiding growth is what is the enemy. You don't. You go to any length. You go to any length to. You go to any length. You avoid growth, and that's what brings the true failure. When your child. So allow your children to grow through the rank. Let them grow. Okay, because steward parents allow safe failures. Resilience developed through struggle. When you don't want your child to struggle, you don't want them, you put house help everywhere for them, you get them house help, you take things that was supposed to bring them growth, you take it off their path because you don't want the. But resilience develops through struggle. Let your child be able to build their own resilience for themselves because they will eventually need it. Okay, I'm going to rush through the class so that we can wrap up. Another mindset that we need to shift is I must control everything. Control feels safe, okay, but control does not prepare children for adulthood. When you keep trying to control your children, you keep trying to manage them. Steward parents gradually transfer responsibility. You gradually transfer responsibility of the ability. Sorry about that. I'm going to wrap up the class now. So a steward parent knows that this is responsibility. Okay, taking care of your children are responsibility, and you should be able to transfer this gradually because the goal is independence, not dependence. Not dependence on anybody eventually in the future. Is independent. That's the goal of parenting. That's the goal of the stewardship role. Is independent, not dependence. So a steward parent knows this and they do it gradually. They transfer responsibility to their children gradually. Thank you, ma, for being here. Thank you so much. So a steward parent, another mindset that a steward parent needs to if I didn't get it, my child doesn't need it. But that is not true. It's not everything that you have that your children need, and it's not everything. So you have to, many parents are unintentionally limiting their children because of their own experiences. You tell yourself that, okay, this was the things I needed as a child. So because of that mindset, you provide those things for your children. But steward parents think differently. Okay, they ask, what opportunity helps my child thrive? What is my child here for? What opportunities help my child thrive? Not what did I survive without. That's what you are seeking to provide, but you are trying to get what I didn't get is what my child doesn't need. It is not true. Okay, so you are very mindful of your child's growth. You are very mindful. A steward parent is very mindful of their child's growth and their child's journey. So the 10th mindset shift that we need to move from as react